Welcome, everyone. John here with Innovative Solutions, and you're very welcome to our networking event of the week. I'm joined with Ian from Hyperise. Hi, Ian. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for having me, John. Pleasure to be here.
It's brilliant to have you here. I'm really excited about Hyperise because ever since I got an email from Ian a couple of months ago, which was fully branded and very impressive, I thought this is the way sales outreach needs to be done, and it's really exciting. So I'm delighted to have you here. Just for everyone on the webinar today, if you have any questions at all, you can ask us in the chat on the right-hand side. So we're going to start off with a little bit of chat with Ian, and then you'll get to know a bit more about Hyperise. Ian can show a bit of a demo. If you have to drop out at any stage, I can send you an email with a replay of the webinar. And then afterwards, we'll have networking, which is a one-to-one speed networking in the networking tab after from 1 o'clock. So anyway, Ian, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. How did you end up rising to create this platform?
Yeah, cheers, thanks. I mean, it's been a long journey, as you can see from my face. I started off 30 years ago, actually. For the first 10 years of my career, I was a developer, so building technical solutions for other people. But fast forward to 20 years ago, I started my first business, online digital business, building my own product. And for the last 20 years, I've been doing that, innovating and kind of creating SaaS businesses. But the common thread for all of those businesses has been personalization being a key contributor to the success. So, for example, in my first business, it was an online car importing business where you choose your car online and we would import it for you. But where we made most of our money was through affiliate deals, actually. And one of the things we did is when somebody bought a car, we'd find out, we'd take their name and kind of convert it into a number plate and personalize the picture of their car with their personalized plate on it and make money, thousands of pounds sometimes in commission, selling these personalized number plates. And it all kicked off by creating these personalized images, with the image kind of transposed on the car that they were buying. And so that was, I can say, like 20 years ago, like 99. My other SaaS business, we revolutionized that. We dropped our CAC from almost $600 down to $57 by implementing hyper-personalization, personalizing every step of the funnel, from the outreach, just completely changing the conversation from build a mobile app with a code-free platform to we've built your app, here's what it looks like, and showing them a personalized preview, with their logo, with their map, in the About Us page. And it kind of revolutionized that business, getting 40% click-throughs on a cold email, for example. And so through that period of time, my partner, Becky, she was like, this should be the business. You've used this, we've used this through so many different businesses as a key strategy. So let's do that. And so that was the birth of Hyperise probably 3 years ago, from creating those tool sets and those strategies internally to externalizing it as the product that exists today.
I'm completely sold. And I think what everyone wants to know is how are you using personalization this way? How are you actually achieving these results, getting 40% click-through rates on a cold email? So maybe you could just dive straight in and show us a bit more about what that really means and how it can help. Let's say whether someone is a sole trader or if it's a small business with a small sales team, or likewise, I think it can work with bigger companies too. But just let's picture a small sales team looking to reach out to new clients, break the ice, get conversations going. How do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, ultimately, the basis of Hyperise is using images for personalization. And the reason why we do that is twofold. First and foremost is, as humans, we're hardwired to process images in milliseconds. So when you include something different in that image, like personalization, it triggers that pattern interrupt, that psychological behavior that just kind of slams the brakes on in the mind, says, right, stop, you've got to pay attention to this because it's different. And when you get that extra mind share, then it just gives you more capacity for the user to kind of absorb your marketing message and take, the action, the call to action that you've included. So that's kind of point one. The second point is digital images are inherently transportable. You can use them in your emails, in LinkedIn, on your website, embed them in videos, print them off and send them in the post. We use diagrams and images all over the place because they're so effective at kind of transmitting the message. So when you kind of cross-sect images with dynamic personalization and then being able to use them throughout your sales funnel, what you have essentially is hyper-personalization, and that's just what it enables. So whether it's taking your product image and adding personalization layers in there, or whether it's humanizing it by using a picture of yourself with some element there, holding a coffee cup with their name on it. It's obviously a classic one that sales outreach guys have been using for time, and manually creating them. And in this case, what Hyperise is doing is buying that time back.
Brilliant. So anyway, Ian, I know you're going to share some information with some slides. So I'll let you get started, just so we can delve into that and understand it a bit more.
Cheers, John. Yeah, so I think we kind of gave a little bit of an overview of what Hyperise is in terms of image personalization, but in terms of why that's important, and again going back to that kind of trying to claw back the attention of the users, the reason why that's so important is just because we're bombarded these days with so many marketing messages, which results in having less time to kind of absorb those. And so we can really do something different to capture the user's attention. And that results in engagement kind of just going down, and the result of that is the cost to acquire customers going up. And this is true both for B2B and B2C. So at the end of every transaction, there's a human ultimately, and we can see here from this graph over the last 5 years, the cost to acquire customers increased by 50% and continues to increase year on year. And that's true for B2B, where you have SaaS trial abandonment, equally as it is for B2C with shopping cart abandonment, and emails continue to grow, billions of emails a day. And that's clearly why, triggering these pattern interrupts can be so important for increasing the conversion rates. Just to kind of give you some examples of how effective that can be, SalesLoft did a survey of over 200 million sales emails. This is cold outreach emails. And they found a direct correlation between the amount of personalization in the email and the reply rate. And in this case, they saw when you're including a significant amount of personalization, the reply rate doubled from 3% to over 6%, on average over those 200 million sales emails. So a significant survey number. One of our own customers got an even better result. They 4x'd the click-through rates from their emails. So Hubstaff, in this case, they're a timesheet app. They target HR managers who have kind of remote workers. And this is actually a screenshot of one of their product screenshots that we took from their website. And what we did is we added personalization layers to this. So in this example mock-up here, as if we were sending it to Kim Cook from Apple. But what we can see, the product image has been personalized with the business logo. The map is located to their location, so it'll look familiar. Obviously, we've got Tim's profile image and name pulled through into the image. And what that resulted in was the click-through rate for this campaign went from 3% to 11%. Now, the call to action in this email was sign up for a free trial. So that uplift was significant, in terms of what it enabled. Another one of our clients went even further than that and got 14x uplift by including personalized images in their outreach. In this case, it was a survey, so it was less of an ask, but more of a kind of response. And in this case, there were kind of 14 times their learning. It was a survey to ask for some feedback with 3 different options, and they accelerated that learning by 14 times. I think John mentioned at the start about the email that I sent him, which I think was something similar to this. And the reason why this is incredibly effective is because rather than personalizing a product image, we're humanizing the contact. So in this case, my usual cadence would be, I want to have a sales call or a demo call with somebody. But if you use that vernacular, that sort of language in an outreach, that creates quite a barrier because people think, well, that's half an hour of my time at least. Whereas if you say, I have a little bit of value, do you have time for a coffee and a chat to share that? In people's minds, they equate that to maybe 4, 5, 10 minutes. And then when we couple that textual ask with a kind of a picture of that depicting the same thing, because we know the image is going to be processed much quicker, it just kind of creates that delight moment, and much more likely that people are going to say, yes, okay, I will accept that sales call, but go beyond that, as we can see in this example, Rebecca, not just saying yes to a sales call, but saying, love this, when can we chat?
I think I also replied with something similar when I first saw that. I was just blown away because you have the branding right there. You had my branding literally there on the screen in several different places in the image. So obviously I can see that you've taken the time to actually. It feels like my brand more because you actually have my brand there. So straight away, I wanted to have a conversation with you and find out more. So it was really, really powerful. And Ian, just do you mind? Sometimes it can be a little bit small on the screen. Can you click present and make the slides a bit bigger?
Can I click present? Where? Where? Oh, I see what you're saying. In my I get it. Is that better?
Yeah, that's much better. Thanks, mate.
No worries. So as you can see in Rebecca's case here, she's a founder, of a serious marketing agency. So, know somebody wet behind the ears, a serious professional, and she's completely kind of won over by this. But I think ultimately Rebecca would have said yes to this anyway, because, the product was for her, and she's open to kind of learning. But Edgar here is kind of what I would call a reluctant replier, that typically cold outreach would never work for this person. They don't feel happy with it. So when it does work, they feel the need to tell you. So you go, I never reply to these emails. It's the first one that worked, and it's that personalization that's creating that delight moment that kind of breaks through the barrier of I've cold emailed you. And then because it's a simple ask and it's kind of coupled up with this personalized image that's kind of depicting the ask, then you kind of get this response where people who ordinarily cold email outreach wouldn't work for is now working. So that's kind of like this second tranche of now responses that you're getting that ordinarily you wouldn't from your outreach. And then this is almost my favorite, Jonathan here, which is what I call like the word of mouth referral. So you reach out to somebody whenever you're doing a cold outreach campaign. Of course, it's not always going to be perfect timing or right for everybody at that moment. And ordinarily, those people would certainly delete your email and maybe even mark it as spam. But in the case here, as we're seeing with Jonathan, rather than just kind of deleting it, they're forwarding it on to somebody else, saying, great, I really appreciate the touch. And so I'll forward it on to somebody else, either, my colleague or my boss or my buddy, kind of a friend that I thought this might be interesting to. But that word of mouth referral is invaluable, way stronger than a direct cold outreach. And so, it's another chunk of leads that ordinarily you wouldn't kind of get access to. And what that kind of accumulates into is, first and foremost, because you're getting more responses and more replies to your outreach, because you're creating that delight moment, over time, your open rate starts to improve because your domain reputation and all of those sort of elements that kind of spam people take into account of how many people are engaging with your emails increases. So you get a much better reply rate, but also the click-through rate and reply rates significantly improve. So in this case, as we can see in this example, this is a typical campaign that I would send out 284 emails in this case, and the end result, 34 confirmed sales appointments. And this is, if you look at the 13 replies here, they're echoing those 3 types of responses that I was talking about, where people say, thank you for the awesome message, I love the GIF, or thanks for reaching out, love a good personalization, thank you for this nice approach, interesting stuff, I'll be sharing this with my team and VP, got a chuckle out of the outreach, props for doing something different, or this is brilliant, I'm sure you've heard that before, if you don't get a million responses, I'll be surprised. And it's really creating those delight experiences, like John said before, even kind of someone as seasoned as John, still kind of getting that delight moment. And so simply, with Hyperise enables you to do this at scale, leveraging the power of personalization. And, it doesn't just have to be email. This can work perfectly well in LinkedIn as well. If you're using LinkedIn as an outreach strategy, again, this is a very simple one here. just the kind of the coffee cup with the person's name on it, still creating those delightful moments that you can see here. The response from Melissa, okay, Ian, you've got me. I get 10 LinkedIn messages a day, but your personalized images are awesome, etc. And it doesn't just have to be static images. Using personalized GIFs in outreach work really, really well. Also in LinkedIn in terms of getting the kind of responses you're looking for.
Yeah, and just on that, like I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of LinkedIn messages from people, and the link previews can be a bit frustrating. And I also, I personally don't even like sending links to people because of the previews, because they can sometimes show up that they can just be kind of frustrating, annoying. Oh, here's another link I'm getting from someone. But but if you have that personalization in it, I absolutely love this, because straight away it can reach to the people. So that's something that that I think is incredibly powerful. And I think one thing people might find challenging is like how they actually can set it up and create those GIFs and create that imaging.
Should we go through an example of creating that live?
Please do.
Yeah, it's cool. Let's jump out the slides. I'd love to share this deck, these slides. So rather than us going through that now, we can put a link to this in the chat, this deck here, and then people can self-serve. There's a lot of great examples there, both B2B and B2C. But let's jump over into a live example. So right now, the site is personalized to you, to your company, John. But what we're going to do, we'll come back to the website personalization piece. I think maybe it's more interesting to look at how simple it can be to create a personalized image. So I'm going to jump straight into the image section of Hyperise. And what I'm actually going to do is just create a brand new image just to illustrate the point. So when you come into Hyperise, into the image editor, you have all of your personalization tools on the left. You have your canvas in the middle and all your settings on the right. So what I'm going to do is click the canvas to start with, and we're going to add an image to the canvas. Now, what I could do is I could upload an image using this button here, and I can upload any PNG, JPEG, or GIF, or I could select an existing image I've got in my library. So, for example, I'm going to choose this one here, and this one in this case is actually a GIF. Now, like I mentioned already, I do like to use a GIF in outreach because it really humanizes the situation, but also kind of GIFs obviously eye-catching in themselves. Now, you notice I've added the GIF to my canvas, and at this point it's static when we're in design mode. But when we preview the image, let me just save that first. When we preview it, we will see that it is actually animated. So now that we've got our base image, what we can do is start to add some personalization to there. So the first thing I want to do is obviously on the laptop screen, I'm going to want to put the screenshot of the recipient that I'm sending this to, a screenshot of their website. So what I'm going to do is just get this this website control here. Just going to resize it a little bit. We'll put it on the screen here. Maybe also rotate it a little bit so it fits in there. So now we've got, so now let's just have a quick preview of what that looks like. So again, we can kind of go to the image, and what I'm going to do is just put a website in there. So I'm just going to put apple.com, just so we can see how that dynamically previews on the fly. Or maybe we could put in Microsoft.com. So we can see that dynamically, the screenshot of the website is changing automatically. So this could be useful in outreach if you provide any digital services, and you want to say, hey, I've just looked at your website and I've got some advice for you. Or it could be if you're asking for backlinks, and this could be an article URL rather than a kind of homepage. Hey, I've just checked out your article. I'd love to get a link in there. Or lots of other services. If they're kind of web-based, this sort of image could be useful. Obviously, we can go beyond here. For example, we can add some personalized text. Maybe we'll put that at the top. And we can change the text here. So we say, hi, say first name, love your website. What we can do is just change the style of that. So again, we can just kind of stretch that out, go to text settings, change the color, change the size of it, change the font. Maybe something slightly different. We can also maybe add a shadow to it so it kind of really pops out. So now you can see that we've got some personalization in terms of textual personalization, and we've also got a website personalization. So now what we can do when we preview the image, rather than maybe just put a website, we could apply a whole email to it. So I'm going to say timcook@apple.com. And now we can see, we're going to see personalization. Hi Tim, love your website. And we see we've got the, we could go even further than that. Say, rather than say love your website, we say love the, business name website. So again, now when we preview that, when you see, hi Tim, love the Apple website. We see now we're seeing some data enrichment as well. So we can see here the email is actually T Cook. It's not actually Tim, but from that email, we're enriching, getting first name, the business name, and the website screenshot. So once we've created an image, maybe this would be the image we wanted to include in our outreach campaign, and we're using, say, HubSpot as our email platform. Then we would just jump over to our integrations tab and click add, and choose one of our hundreds of different integrations. We can choose to filter these by sections. So I'm going to choose CRM rather than scroll all the way through. I'm going to choose HubSpot. I'm going to add that. And so now we can see we can save our image. We've got our HubSpot integration. See, it's selected there, so we can simply just copy this link here and just add that directly to HubSpot, directly to an email template. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click this little question mark here. For every integration, we have an integration guide. So in this case, every integration works very similar. Step one is always the same. You add the integration to your Hyperise image, and then you click copy to copy the image link, like we've just done now. Once we've copied the image link, we go over to, in this case, HubSpot. We add in the image block in the email template editor, and then we choose to add image, and we just choose image by URL and paste in the code that we've got from Hyperise. We don't need to change anything at all to that code. It includes all of the merge tags specific to the platform integration we've chosen, and so we'll see the placeholder tags for our image in our template in the same way we see like the hi first name placeholder tag for the name, and that's it. You can save that template, and every time that template's used, the image will be dynamically updated on the fly with all the relevant information that you've added, and personalized for the recipient. So that's a very quick speed example of creating a personalized image and adding that image into your campaign. Now, like I say, we've got support for hundreds of different platforms. So irrespective of what you use, whether you're using kind of a MailChimp or Mailshake or HubSpot, or for LinkedIn, using something like maybe Expandy or one of the many other kind of sort of LinkedIn connection platforms, you can add all these different integrations to your image and start to use them in all those different ways. If you want to go further and create hyper personalization, where you're not just putting a personalized image in a campaign, but then running it out all the way through to your website we can personalize, then that's what we call the hyper campaign. So once you have an image and you have a platform you're going to use to send out, you can launch into the hyper campaign. And now what we've got a couple of extra options. We've got our email and our image and our platform selected. But now what we can do is put a landing page where we're going to send that traffic. So what I'm going to do in this case, I'll just grab your domain here, John, just to illustrate the purpose. And what I can also do, if I want to do some Facebook remarketing, I can also put my Facebook pixel in here as well. Once we've got that information set up, we can go down here with all the steps for our campaign to create hyper personalization. Step one is what we're already working on, which is our personalized image in the email. But now that we've supplied a link as well, rather than just having the image code, we have what we call combined code, which you can copy and add to our email template. And what that enables is for the image to show in the template, not just personalized, but also clickable. And when you click it, it's going to go to this landing page we've set here, but pull through all the personalization that we've defined onto the site. So to enable to do that, to personalize the website, we have step 2 here. We have a little bit of code that we add to the website. You can add that code free using Google Tag Manager if you use that, or if not, you can just paste this code and add it directly to your page, and that will work. And then the second step is to define the personalization of the web page. And we have this Chrome extension, which you can see I already have it installed on my site. So what I can do is I'll just jump over to the Hyperise site and just show you how that works. So you can see right now we're on the Hyperise page, landed as if I come from an email, or John had come from an email, and he's seeing the whole site personalized to him for Innovate Solutions. So but if I load the Chrome extension here, which is our website personalization toolbar, you'll see that all the personalization elements have now changed to placeholders. So this personalization toolbar will work on whatever your site's built on. So in this case, this site's built in WordPress, but you can see I'm not in WordPress. I'm not editing it in edit mode. I'm actually viewing it like an end user would be, but with our toolbar, it enables your site to go into edit mode, so we can now start to add personalization to the site. So in this case, you can see the title we have here is personalize your sales funnel. We can maybe change your to business name rather than sales funnel. So hyper-personalized business sales funnel and 2x business name conversions. Or indeed, we could just change some of the values. So if we wanted to 3x results if it was a personalized known, rather than 2x them if it was just a generalized one. We can go even further with website personalization by defining segments. So for example, creating a segment here for CEOs where we change the title completely to CEOs Love the Hyperise Impact is business name next. And that personalization will trigger when the job title of the person visiting the page equals CEO. So we can create unlimited number of segments. So in this case, the title would be perfect for B2B marketers, and that title would trigger when the business category of the person visiting the page contains B2B and their job title contains marketer. So that's, again, a quick example of how the website personalization works by simply connecting using the Hyper campaign from your outreach through to your web page. Again, there is the option of setting up Facebook for remarketing ads as well. But these first two steps of the funnel are so effective that sometimes you don't need the remarketing. But yeah, this can be incredibly powerful. And as you saw from the results in that deck, in terms of going from personalized email to landing page with the call to action around, like say, booking a demo, getting like a 20% conversion on email opens. So incredibly powerful strategy.
Brilliant, Ian. Look, I'm completely sold myself. I'm getting a new website built at the minute, and in a few weeks' time, my website will be looking very differently. And I just find it's really exciting. I think it's something that can really help small businesses because, it's the kind of thing that a lot of the bigger companies might be already ahead of in terms of lead generation and sales outreach. But like small size companies can really benefit from this. And the fact that I know you didn't talk about pricing or anything, but it's very affordable. So I do recommend anyone to check it out and have a look. You can do a free trial, and also I can send a link to people for a discount as well. If anyone does want to take it up. But I know we're running a little bit low on time, and there's a lot packed in, and we're going to move over in a couple of minutes to the networking area to chat one-on-one. But in the meantime, if anyone has any questions, just write it in the chat, and we can answer in the chat there. But in any case, you can talk with Ian on it. Well, it'd be a one-to-one basis. If you mightn't get around today, but we can arrange. I can connect you with Ian. I'll send an email follow-up to everyone, and so you have Ian's details, so you can reach out to him. But yeah, if you've got any questions, just add it into the chat now, and then in a couple of minutes we'll go over to the networking. So, Ian, I just again want to say thanks very much for joining us today and for your insights.
My pleasure. Great to be here.
There's so much there that and what I love about it is that once it's set up, you don't have to do it every time. You set it up, and and whatever you go to send an email to someone, it's all automated, and that's just so powerful. It saves so much time, and the results are very, very like it's just incredible the results that this can.
Yeah, the results speak for yourselves, and it's kind of. I think you touched upon it before. When you look at the other solutions in the marketplace that enable this, you know, they Optimizely, you know, it's like $2.5 grand per month. Clearbit, IP lookups, and you know, data enrichment, it's like $2.5 grand per month. You've got use proof, starts at $900 per month. You know, these solutions are very effective. I'm not trashing them, but they're crazy prices. You know, they're geared towards the enterprise because the enterprise know it works and they can afford it because they've got high ticket prices. But there's a huge mid-market that can't afford those prices, but where personalization would still be just as effective, because, you know, ultimately it's still humans at the end of every transaction. So just because you're spending a lot of money on a ticket doesn't make you more susceptible to personalization all of a sudden than somebody spending, you know, buying a low ticket product. But yeah. So there's a huge opportunity here because there's so many people that have never seen this level of personalization, lots of opportunity to delight your customers, or even if you're providing services to clients, use this, you know, as another string to your bow. You know, the market is kind of like really open. But you speak to most people understand that personalization is key, but they're just not able to implement it, you know, in that way.
That's brilliant. Listen, thank you so much, Ian. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I'll send an email afterwards just with the details to contact. Just as well, we'll move over to the area in a moment for networking. But to let you know about upcoming events, the next one will be Friday the 16th, from 12 to 2. That day we'll have Kevin Childs from Hire with Leo. So the webinar that day is more suited to recruiters and HR directors, but the networking is open to everyone from 1 p.m. that day as well. Then on the 20th of October, we'll be moving to Tuesday. So it'll be every Tuesday at 4 p.m. from the 20th of October onwards. I put a link in the chat as well where you can already book for the 16th. And do subscribe to our newsletter. And I hope to see you all again soon. So anyway, again, Ian, listen, thank you so much for joining us today. And sure, we'll move over to the one-to-one networking and continue the conversations there.
Perfect. Catch you there. Cheers.
See you. Bye now.